In an effort to find the best source of protein for losing weight, burning fat, and losing some inches off that waist, I compared sources of protein on 3 different levels. I learned a lot through these comparisons, so I'm pretty sure you're going to learn something new in this video. For the first comparison, I compared the bioavailability of various different protein sources. Bioavailability is a representation of the percentage of just how much our bodies can make use of certain protein sources. Basically, our bodies can use and absorb certain protein sources better than others. According to the Bioavailability Index, we got whey protein at the top, followed by whole eggs, cow's milk, egg whites, and fish. Now, just because our bodies can absorb a lot of the protein from milk, assuming you're not lactose intolerant that is, doesn't mean that milk is the solution for fat loss. This is just one very important comparison that has to be drawn because the best sources of protein for fat loss should also help you maintain muscle mass. Obviously, it's going to be tough getting enough protein from peanuts because it's so low on the bioavailability scale. For the next comparison, I wanted to see which protein sources spike insulin levels the highest. Yes, protein can spike insulin levels in your body just like carbohydrates can. Most people don't know that protein is insulinogenic, but it is, and some protein sources like whey protein can really spike your insulin pretty high. You may be wondering, why is this important? Well, it's important because the most significant factor in fat storage is the level of insulin in the blood. Insulin increases the storage of fat in fat cells and prevents fat cells from releasing fat for energy. There was a study done by David Mendoza in which they tested 38 foods and found that glycemic scores and insulin scores were highly correlated. However, what's interesting is that protein-rich foods and bakery products elicited insulin responses that were disproportionately higher than their glycemic responses. In case you don't know, the glycemic index is a number associated with a particular type of food that indicates the food's effect on a person's blood glucose. So it makes sense that these two numbers would correlate, because if something spikes your blood sugar, you need a spike in insulin to bring the blood sugar levels back down. But certain protein sources seem to not have this correlation. This study found some foods, such as meat, fish, and eggs, that contain no carbohydrates, just protein and fat, and essentially have a glycemic index value of 0, still stimulate significant rises in blood insulin. The insulin index is a new area of study, so this is not one that I have a direct answer to, but it's interesting to note that whey protein can spike your insulin levels very high. The insulin will funnel the blood sugar to the liver where it can be stored as fat. This doesn't mean that whey protein is awful for you when trying to lose weight. It just depends when you have it. If you have a random whey protein shake in the middle of the day or for breakfast, it may not help you with weight loss, especially if you have it with fruit or milk. However, if you have that directly after a workout, the insulin spike can help you funnel the glycogen to your muscles rather than ultimately ending up in your fat cells. For the last comparison, I compared the macronutrient splits in different sources of protein. This will help us see how much protein we are getting for a given amount of calories. Remember that insulin is what stores fat, not fat. So just because we have fat that comes with a protein source doesn't mean that it's bad for fat loss. In fact, fat is necessary to produce many of the important hormones that we need for optimal fat loss. I want to just compare a couple different sources of protein, starting with chicken breast and codfish. Chicken breast, cod, and other low-fat fish is made up of 93% protein, 0% carbs, and 7% fat. Beans are made up of 25% protein, 72% carbs, and 3% fat. Eggs are made up of 29% protein, 2% carbs, and 69% fat. As you can see, each one of these protein sources that I picked leans more heavily towards one macronutrient than the rest. Cod and chicken breast leans heavily towards the protein macro. Whole eggs are mostly made up of fat, and beans are mostly made up of carbs. When looking at protein sources this way, you can say that beans are a good source of carbohydrates, that they are high in protein, but they mainly provide carbohydrates. The same goes for eggs, except that they are mainly a source of fat. Of course, this is different when it comes to egg whites. Egg whites are primarily a source of protein. So what does all this mean? Well, it means that the best source of protein to burn fat depends on the given situation. Cheese may not be the best protein source according to this last comparison, because the amount of protein you get out of cheese for the amount of calories in that cheese due to the high fat content may not be worth it to have cheese, and it may not fit into your plan. Of course, on the other hand, if you aren't having any fat in your diet at all, cheese may help you lose weight because fat, again, is necessary for optimal weight loss hormone production. Is whey protein the best source of protein since it ranks the highest on the bioavailability scale? Well, it depends when you're having it because it is also very insulinogenic. So if you're not having it directly after your workout, it could be stored as fat. So a lot of this depends on what your diet looks like and when you plan to consume these protein sources. What you have to know when choosing the perfect protein for burning belly fat is that protein sources like cod, flounder, or chicken breast are low in fat and are a great way to get a lot of protein into your diet without overdoing it on too many calories. Whey protein is one of the most insulinogenic forms of protein, which can be a huge advantage if taken at the end of your workout because of the insulin spike and the high bioavailability, but could also be a huge disadvantage if you're drinking it at random points throughout the day. And high fat sources of protein like whole eggs, steak, and nuts are very calorie dense, which could lead you to over consuming calories and not losing weight. However, the fat found in these foods is critical to regulating your hormones properly so you can lose fat. The bottom line is don't just stick to just one source of protein. Mix it up while making sure you balance out your macros and that you're not having liquid meals such as protein shakes at random points of the day. That's it, guys. I really hope this video has helped you guys out. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel where you can view more videos and tips just like this one. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave it a big thumbs up and comment down below. And if you'd like to find out more information about me and what it is that I do, you can visit my website. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.